I look good in the state that we're in, the Midwest state, but I feel like I'd be fat in LA.
We all feel that
So
way.
I've never wanted to go.
Hi, guys. Welcome to a new episode. Another episode. New episode. I guess both would work,
Welcome
right?
to the first day of the rest of my life. Because
we are not in high school with those like quotes.
I am
I'm
a
so
Real
excited.
Housewives fan.
I'm so excited. So all of our loyal fans, no, thank you for watching.
Yes.
And listening, however you are.
Absolutely.
First and foremost, we have now transitioned into additional content of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And obviously my wonderful co-host here. If you remember her journey with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, she'd never seen it before.
Nope.
And we are in that same scenario with Beverly Hills. She's never watched an episode.
Yeah.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I'm going to ask you the same exact question before we get into the episode that I asked you after season 6, episode 1 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. What were your biggest takeaways?
My first takeaway was like, I don't know anything about California.
Do you know where Beverly Hills is?
No.
LA.
Okay.
Southern California.
So my first job when I got out of college in 2006,
I did not know
I
this.
looked up a newspaper and it was like administrative assistant in Kentucky. Call them, have a phone interview. I get a job in Covington, Kentucky. My first job is working as the sales assistant to Allergan.
What's that?
The makers of Botox.
Mm.
Because if they put Botox in the paper, they'd have 800 people applying.
Got a discount?
No. But also I was 21 because I got out in 3 years.
Interesting.
So I got out of college in 3 years, moved to Crescent Springs, Kentucky. My boss was the sales manager. He had 8 people under him and they would legit be like, how many shots did you sell? How many of this? Like it was pharmaceutical sales reps.
Okay.
So I've been to Irvine, which is the main city you fly to.
Yep.
So I'm like, wait, okay, I know Orange County only because of Irvine. And then I've been to San Francisco. But other than that, I've never been to LA. I love the movie Pretty Woman, but I've never been to like Rodeo Drive.
Yes.
I used to always say this. I look good in the state that we're in, the Midwest state, but I feel like I'd be fat in LA.
We all feel that
So
way.
I've never wanted to go to LA. But I will tell you this. Didn't know anything about it. It also made me realize they could do a Real Housewives of Westchester, which is one of the most expensive counties. No, it's outside of Cincinnati.
Oh, it's also in Connecticut. It's a very wealthy
Oh, is
Westchester.
it Westchester? Westchester is where my husband and I lived when we first moved to Cincinnati. Big money, big shopping. Not your favorite thing, but like when the Republican presidents come to Ohio, they always go to Hamilton County because there's so much money there. And watching this and seeing like them go to Kyle's house and then Sutton's house, I was like, oh, we could do this in Westchester.
Versus other?
No, just
cities?
add to it. Like not get rid of Beverly Hills from
No,
Westchester.
I mean like
people would watch that.
Yeah, New Albany is like one of the most expensive zip codes in the country.
Okay.
I actually read that.
I'll take that too.
Because I've never heard. Where's
Real Housewives, Westchester. It's outside of
Cincinnati?
it's Hamilton County. Actually, it's Butler County. Oh, is it?
Yeah, Butler,
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
sorry. But
not Butler County.
Okay. It feels very different than Salt Lake City.
You think?
I liked how they were going to everybody's houses. And then I'm writing down names and I was like, Sutton, Kyle as a woman.
My favorite.
Great name. Boz, of course. But I was like, that's a cool name for Dorit. I was
Dorit,
like, wait,
yeah.
Dorit. But I was like, all these names. I was like, why haven't I heard of these people? So I was kind of surprised that I hadn't watched it.
So do you know who Kyle Richards is? Based upon this.
The only Kyle I know is there was a Kyle on America's Next Top Model. That was a woman. And I was like, that's so cool. Kyla is the female version of Kyle, which means chief in Irish.
Yeah.
So I'm all for Kyle.
Well, Kyle's an OG. She's the OG, the only remaining OG in the show.
Okay.
She started the show 15 years ago with Camille Grammer, Lisa Vanderpump.
Was she married when she was on the show?
She sure was. You see the flashbacks of her. That's who they're talking about.
And we see all 4 of her daughters.
Yes. So you saw Kathy Hilton, though. That's her sister on the show. She's a friend of.
That's her sister? No, who do I see with Kathy? I see Rachel.
That's Rachel's introduction. But Kathy Hilton is Kyle's sister.
Like Conrad Hilton, like the hotels.
Kyle's nieces are Paris and Nikki Hilton.
Wait. Kathy is Kyle's blood sister?
Yeah, half sister.
Or like for marriage?
No, blood.
What?
Yeah. They have different dads.
Well, I didn't know that they were related, but I would have guessed it was from the husbands or something.
Nope.
Interesting.
So it's a big like ordeal. So
I don't think they talked about that at all because I only met Kathy.
They wouldn't have. because Kathy's been on the show now for a few years.
So that was something else. I was gonna say this didn't feel like a first episode, but maybe because it's the 15th season.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're not gonna get that.
But they gave so much of the background of the ladies that I jumped right in.
Mostly because there's a lot of dynamics and changing in their lives, so it kind of forces them to see a lot of past scenes or past things.
We always pick the best series.
Beverly Hills has always been one of my favorites. It's had some rough patches throughout the years, but because it's 15 years.
So Boz, she's holding, what is that, a diamond at the front?
They hold diamonds. So that's their thing. Where Salt Lake holds snowflakes. Beverly
Atlanta has the big ass peaches.
Yeah, they hold diamonds.
So did Boz come in as full cast or a friend of?
Full time.
So Garcelle was on last year as well.
Yep, full time. Yep.
So I know Garcelle old school from the Jamie Foxx show from the 90s.
Garcelle Beauvois, yeah.
So I never saw her on the show, but
she left the show.
But you and I have talked about on Salt Lake City, like when people leave, do they make a big deal of it? They're making a big deal about Garcelle. They keep talking about it.
It's very interesting, and I could, depending on how I want to say this, Bravo fans, she is very revered, and people were very upset. I think, I'm not saying race played a role, but when it came to Garcelle, because she was the first woman of color to join the cast, big deal. It's like, well, hey, finally.
Because there's definitely money in LA.
Oh, yeah. She's and I knew who Garcelle Beauvois was. So basically, she left at the end of the reunion last year. She didn't feel like Sutton had her back. There was a lot of like certain tensions between Garcelle and Dorit. Sutton was her best friend throughout their time on the show together.
How many seasons?
I can't remember. Like 5, maybe.
That's a lot.
Yeah, something. It might be like 4 or 5. But she was on for a good amount of time. The way people react, especially to the women discussing, like, oh my God, why is she, like, what happened? They talk about Garcelle as she's one of the most iconic housewives of all time. And I hate to break it to everyone. And I like Garcelle.
Yeah, yeah.
I am failing to say in this moment really many iconic like lines that she's had or moments.
So, you know, I've watched the full series of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I watched all 15 seasons, like in 2024. Like I just watched them. Who was Garcelle? Was she a Portia? Was she a supporting character? Was she wasn't a Nene and a Candy Burris, obviously. Was she a Phaedra? Like, was she was on the outs?
Because that's...
Okay, so who is she on Salt Lake City? Is she Meredith? She's quiet, but she was around?
She would be more, in my opinion, people are not going to like, maybe more of a Whitney. So she's not main character by any means. She does enough where she's prominent. I think maybe that also comes with her notoriety to her name.
Okay. So I don't know anything about her. Was she married? She had kids on the show?
Yeah.
No,
she has 2 kids.
Okay.
And her whole thing is about like dating.
Oh, okay.
Like just trying to find relationships. And then this is what I'm talking about. I'm struggling to think of like, she's very smart. She's very interesting. She is not overly dramatic. She seemed like a funny person. Cool woman. I would be friends with her. I like Garcelle. She is not... And I am struggling to understand why, because people are like, the day after, or day of, and after, I was reading like comments and fan reactions, and maybe it's algorithm wise, right? If I'm looking at a certain type, I'm being presented, but I'm like, I love it. So like, I don't know where all those are. People are saying it's tone deaf. Like, they don't understand. She left the reunion because she didn't think Sutton had her back, and she left, and they went to go take a cast picture, which they haven't done in a long time after the reunion.
I saw that. She walked off.
And she walked away. And they're kind of like, what the fuck? And now we see in this episode, like, well, what do you think happened? And basically fans are like, y'all know what happened.
So it was such a big deal, they almost could not avoid talking about it.
I see it that way.
So here's
she was solidified enough as a full-time cast member that her departure, while I don't think it disrupts much in terms of the show, it is an elephant in the room, at least in the first episode. Like, yeah, I would feel like it would be weird if they didn't say something about Garcelle not being there.
But you mentioned race, and Boz is on the show now. Bozoma St. John.
Love her so much.
Were they not going to have 2 people of color on the show?
No, well, they did last year. And they weren't even that close. And actually,
which is fine, because black people aren't a monolith. They don't have to be close just because.
I guess, like,
and they're in very different lanes.
They are, and they weren't close. What I like about Boz is that she really tries to get to know every single person. And if I'm going to play diplomatic here, if they're not meeting her where she thinks that she is, so in her mind, if they're not giving her the same energy, that is boss energy. She's like, I'm not going to waste my time.
She mentioned that with someone.
Kyle.
Okay.
And that's irritating to me. So, and I love Boz. Kyle's one of my favorite housewives of all time. I don't see it that way.
Really, after 1 season?
I don't know if she has it's almost like she has a hang up on Kyle, what you can sense from this episode a little bit is because last year there's a lot of tension between Kyla and Dorit, who are traditionally best friends.
And now Boz is hanging out with Dorit.
Exactly. When she, in the first episode when she came on last season, her and Dorit clicked right away.
So who are OGs on the show?
Just Kyle.
No, okay, but Rachel is now here, and Boz was on for last season. How long has Dorit been on?
Like 6 or something.
How long has Sutton been on?
Saying like 5 or something like that.
Well,
so
Erika, me, with Salt Lake City being 6 seasons, these feel like OGs.
Well, that's probably a testament to them. I don't necessarily feel that way. Okay. The only other one is Erika has been on for 10 years, so she's the second longest housewife.
I couldn't understand, and she's a music performer.
So she had a so
they were showing the clips, and I was like, "Is that her?"
I want to make sure I get this right because you'll like this because you're a lawyer.
Okay.
And they touch on it a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. Her alter ego is Erika Jane. You hear that?
I've heard that name before.
Her husband is Tom Girardi.
Okay.
He was the nation's leading plaintiff's attorney.
Okay.
And his big thing, I'm trying to find it.
Girardi.
So he's one of the most famous.
All lawyers don't know each other, Tom.
What? Get to this. Hold on. Calm your panties for a second. Because there's documentaries about it. He swindled a lot of people.
No.
But not only that, so one of his most famous wins was a suit against a large utility company led to a massive settlement that was the case inspired of the story behind Erin Brockovich. He was that. Yes.
He was the one she worked with or the one they were going up against?
With.
Okay. Interesting.
I think. So
was he on the show before he went to prison or whatever?
Yeah, like they were together. And now this is him. But how he was presented early on, it was like a stoic lawyer. It was definitely, you saw a vibe like he tells Erika what to do type of thing. Erika, you can see she's effeminate. She is very like, her music is very like raunchy. Mm-hmm. There was Erika Jane, which is her alter ego, like her musical persona. And then there was Erika Girardi, who was the lawyer's wife.
Wow.
So those are fascinating, these seasons, to see her, because the lore, and you might geek out over this. So,
yeah.
Because there's a whole documentary that Hulu did. It's called The Housewife and the Hustler. That they did. It's by the
write this down.
It's by like the New York Times or something that did it, because he swindled a lot of people.
Now I'm all into all of it.
So, over time, however, allegations mounted that Tom misappropriated client funds. And in 2020, he was accused of diverting settlement money meant for victims of a plane crash. And I remember the plane crash and led to a lavish lifestyle. And there was an accusation that he helped fund her career with victims' money that they never got. And in 2024, a federal grand jury convicted him on multiple counts of wire fraud and embezzlement. And as a result, his law firm collapsed. He was disbarred. And in 2025, he was sentenced to prison for 7 years. Look at him. He's a very old man.
I saw that somebody mentioned, like, how are you feeling? Because,
like, this was her first season on the show. So you can see him there, like,
yeah.
And then now this is, like, and now apparently they're trying to use he has, like, early onset dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that. It is what he did was disgusting, but it's a very interesting, when you see her first season and her dynamic with him. Wow. They have this beautiful house, and he's this successful lawyer with a ton of notoriety. And it's very sad and interesting.
I hate theft. Theft is the worst.
So she's gotten through.
Theft is the worst. You are this big time lawyer. You could make more money. You don't need to steal people's money.
So through osmosis, she got sucked into it.
Was that hard on the show? Like, people talk about
hate
her?
Erika because
they think she's
whatever
or she knew something.
That whole season when this all came out.
Oh my god.
And that reunion was an intense reunion because they asked her a lot of hard questions of what she didn't know, what she did know. She claimed she didn't know anything. There was a thing about, like, drank a lot. It's a whole thing. That's a whole nother episode to dive into. But she's been on the show for 10 years. She was the second longest running housewife on that show. She beats out every other OG that's been on the show. She has beat them out.
I have to tell you guys, I've been judging these shows because I don't know what I thought they talked about on these shows.
Life.
I thought they were just going to brunch and then, like, going shopping all the time, because I thought it was fascinating to see Kyle and her family dynamic. And then I remember I asked you before we started recording, was she married when the show started?
Yeah.
But then Rachel Zoe is discussing her separation that happened a year ago. And I remember watching her on her old TV show.
Yeah, the Rachel Zoe Project.
And so to see, and I'm like, I almost felt like I knew her kids. I was like, I remember when she was pregnant. And so
I love that you knew who she was. Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, she's getting divorced. And then to find out it was last year, I'm like, she's getting divorced now. So, like, Dorit just found out that somebody was making out with someone, and I'm like, all these women at these different stages. I wonder if they'll be, like, mentoring each other in a kind of informal.
Unfortunately, not.
Okay,
maybe I don't know the Rachel thing. So the show starts off with Dorit going to Bose's house, gifting her a $2,000 Hermes blanket. I'm like, I don't know why you don't come here giving me those kind of gifts. But
I bring snacks.
Okay. I mean, that's fine, I suppose. And so they start talking about that. So you mentioned the kissing. Okay. So that is her soon-to-be ex-husband, PK, who is also the manager of Boy George and stuff.
Do they have children?
They do. They have 2 children. Okay. The big emphasis of last season was her separation from PK, her husband. PK is also like best friends with Kyle's. They're still married, but they're separated and have been for like a long time. And there's a lot of pictures.
Her guy with the girlfriends and they're out skiing.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
They're separated. But
she keeps saying like, I'm used to this by now. They're not together. They don't live
but
together.
They never formally filed.
And that's a topic of a conversation. Like, what are you waiting for? And it's still not clear.
Especially while your one daughter is getting married now.
Yes. So he's out there being a hoe and getting photographed. Now we have PK out here kissing girls. And so he's
not being a hoe if they're separated. He's just dating.
Most fans are not liking his behavior.
But I can say that I didn't understand why the daughter said when my friends bring it up, whatever. But now you're telling me if they're still married.
And they're the ones calling their dad a hoe because he's banging all these chicks. But he's pretending as if you are at valet kissing. Like they said, it's like you're very much in everyone's faces about like whatever this is. And it's really sad because they were looked at, Kyle and Mauricio, as like the Bravo couple. Like they're the last ones you ever thought were going to get divorced. Yeah. So from a fan base, it was actually very sad when they announced their separation. You're like, wow, if these two can't make it, then no one else. That's how like fans felt about it. Like even like Andy Cohen, like it was very like sad in terms of couples.
Meanwhile, Sutton's marriage was annulled. That is to make it as if it never
do you know
happened.
How much she
that
gets?
Is so rude. In Ohio, you can only annul a marriage if you've been married less than a year. So to annul a multi-year marriage...
Well, I did not know this because they've been divorced. And she gets $300,000 a month. Did you know that from him?
No.
Yeah, you love rich people so much. Think about that one.
The reason I can't have a reaction, because I don't make $300,000 a year... Clearly, they must afford. They can afford.
Well, he's
it
very
if
rich.
He's able
clearly,
to pay that. No, but to say as if we never were married.
Well, I learned.
And the mom says, "Are these kids bastards?"
I know. Well, I learned after that what that means is because he's looking to get.
And at the Catholic Church, you need that.
Correct. I did not know that.
They don't like divorce.
So I saw that outline, like when you were seeking annulment from the church because they've been divorced. That means that he's trying to get married to somebody else.
What would you do with $300,000 a month?
Cry.
But wait, this kind of is taking me back to why I didn't watch these shows. Because, like, why are you getting paid to be on TV if you're getting money?
Ethics, I suppose. I don't know.
No, I mean,
she ain't struggling for money,
and you want to be on TV. How about because I can?
Yeah.
It sounds like these housewives actually were housewives. Their husbands were big dealers, and they were housewives.
Okay, I'll run through a little bit. So Kyle was a child actress. So she was on Little House on the Prairie. So her other sister is Kim Richards. She was also a housewife on for several years that started the show with her.
Oh, wow.
But she has like drinking problems. And that's a whole thing.
So it started with 3 sisters. Was Kathy?
Kathy was never on the show until like a few years ago.
I'm sorry. Your sister is Kathy Hilton?
Yeah.
Like vacations are on you every year.
She's a kooky one. You see how she at that one scene she brought jeans out of her bag.
Was that her cutting the hat?
Yes. She's very kooky. It's very odd. It's who you think Kathy Hilton is. I'm sure she is all like the gravitas, all that stuff. But you also learn that she's a very silly,
like she's
weirdo.
Not. I think she lets her daughters be the gravitas.
I don't know, but that is literally her in a nutshell. So
But now I know why she was talking to her like that. That's her sister.
Yes.
She's like, don't cut your hand.
That's her sister. So Kyle was a child. She was at Halloween, the very first one, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis has been on the show randomly, like for dinners and stuff. Done like acting since like little things here and there. But you know how they brought Halloween back?
Yeah.
She was in one of them.
Wow.
Again, but as an adult, she was a little girl. We know who Bose is. Marketing icon, genius, is in the Marketing Hall of Fame. Needs no introduction because she's such an icon.
But I'm so excited because we saw in real time on Instagram that she got engaged this summer. And then I get to meet her boyfriend on the show. And I'm like, I wonder if they're going to show that.
I don't know. I bet you they do to some extent. Because I think that happened while they're still filming. I don't know that for sure. He seemed like a nice man, Keely.
Yeah. And her daughter, every year on her daughter's birthday, she does this big, huge thing about like your dad passed and how hard it is, and now I'm raising you. And so to see her, and I didn't know that Lael was 16. I was like, oh my! It was like kind of watching Riley with Candy Burrs. It's like they grew up with you. I was like, oh my god,
love her. One thing to know about Dorit is you don't understand what her accent is because she's from Connecticut. She lived in Europe for a while.
I have a note. What's her nationality? Because Dorit
white.
is such a different name.
But it's very, that was a topic of conversation for a few years of like, what the fuck is this accent? And they try to replicate it all the time. It's funny. We don't talk about it anymore. But she was a former fashion designer. And she got married to PK. His like business is like being a manager for like musicians and stuff like Boy George.
So is it odd that Dorit was like...
Well, they have filed. She filed for divorce right after that picture came out.
Does he have a history of cheating on her in prior seasons?
Not that we know of, no.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He never did things like that we at least are aware of.
Okay.
What we learned last season is that's when this all opened up. It sounds like he might have been like she was like really heavily into letting everyone know that he has a drinking problem and he didn't like that. It's going to be a very ugly divorce. That's what we can say. But she was a fashion designer.
Okay.
He met him. They have 2 kids, whatever.
Okay.
Who else do we have? So we have Sutton. We kind of talked about her. She comes from old money. Her mom is from Georgia. That was a whole thing last year. They visited her and you saw like basically her mom has been hot on her whole life. Didn't really say I love you, that kind of vibe. And you kind of see that like form something last year. And now look at it. She's visiting her in her home in California. Sutton had a clothing store. That's whatever storyline.
Like retail. She's not a designer. Okay.
But that's since closed. But she has a line now of eco-friendly like clothes. Like she tries to make sure that they're very like sustainable and eco-friendly. Makes a ton of money a year just from her settlement. She lives on a main road. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh my God. I didn't understand it, but I thought it was funny.
It was from the reunion last year. I was one of Dorit's best lines.
She's
like, you're not really living like the Queen of Sheba. You live on the main road. That's Jennifer Tilly. She's a friend of. We haven't seen her yet this season. A main role
in Beverly Hills. I'm sure it's perfectly acceptable.
I love it. It was a great line. I thought it was so. I'm like, damn. Okay.
I just think it's funny when they do these flashbacks. I'm just like, wait, what was that from?
And then we kind of talked about Erika. She had like Billboard Hot 100 like on the dance charts. Like she had a career, and she sounds like now she's getting back into it. She was on Chicago for a long time, like the Broadway musical. And she was on Dancing with the Stars one year.
So who else works? Erika is working. I mean, Boz still does TV. Everybody else,
I guess you could say technically all. Well, I don't know.
Outside of the show,
I don't.
Rachel is working.
She was new. Though we all know her. Dorit, well, she was recently named ambassador to Chanel.
Oh,
but that happened
awesome.
like within the last week. But I don't know.
Okay.
Because she brought back her fashion line, or she started a new one. It was a swimwear line. Her second season, I want to say, and I don't know what happened to that.
So is Kathy a friend of, or is she a housewife? Okay.
Friend of.
Again, I dived right in because it was easy to, because they took you straight to Kathy. And I was like, okay, who's Kathy? Wait, is she and then Erika, I couldn't really tell if she was on the show or a friend of. I wasn't quite sure. Okay. Well, that's going to be interesting because it sounds like there's a lot of divorces and separations. And then Boz just got engaged. So there's a lot of different levels. Yeah.
So Dorit and Kyle have been best friends for a long time. Last season, they had a major rift where they kept going back and forth. They could not move forward. Some of it stemming from when Dorit announced her separation from PK. Kyle was still kind of talking to him a little bit.
But you said that their husbands are friends.
They are. I talk about this a little bit on my podcast, my first season of my podcast, Unstable by me, Dom Torres. About like I felt like people were really hard on Kyle last year. One thing that sounds like it's going to play is what Kyle's sexuality is.
Oh, okay.
She's always identified as straight as long as we've known, but it's become like she started hanging out with this country music star, and there's been like questionable like what is the relationship. It started a few seasons ago that people were like, what is going on here? I didn't love how she would answer the question, but she kind of like she wouldn't answer it. She'd like beat around the bush. But it sounds
it's
like
a female country music star.
Yes, who is an open lesbian.
Okay.
Did a music video with her where they kind of played like romantic love interest, and they're like, okay, what is going? They talk about the reunion, like you can't do all this and not say like what's going on. And she last year finally opened up a little bit. She's like, I don't know, I'm figuring it out. And so what you saw in the trailer for this season is the first scene in the trailer was Bo. You see something Bo's asked. Something along the lines of like, hey, we got to be honest here if you want to get closer, blah, blah, blah. And it's like a scene of like several girls. And Kyla says to her, she's like, why don't you ask me what you really want to ask me? She's like, I could go Brad, I can go Angelina. And it's like,
so I didn't watch the trailer.
So we haven't gotten to whatever that is yet. So I'm assuming it's going to be more of a topic where she's going to be a little more vulnerable. But she's figuring it out.
Told her girls?
She has.
I hope she has before the TV
She has, because they talked about that last year. But I think the main emphasis is people are really hard on Kyle about her sexuality. And when I talked about it on my podcast, I said, listen, this woman has been married I think she was like married to her husband for like 20 years. I want to say a very long time. She's never dated women that we know of. This is new for her discovering her sexuality. She's in her 50s. She has a lot of success, money. She's comfortable. And you saw her through her separation. She like stopped drinking. She's very into fitness. You see kind of a reinvention of her understanding herself. That maybe she is questioned. Maybe she met this country singer and she was like, wait a minute, I'm kind of turned on. What is this? And that is a whole journey. Yeah. That did not, and I still don't like when people are pressuring her to come out or talk more about it. And I'm like, that is such a vulnerable thing. Yeah. That's way more complex than saying, oh, yep, I'm gay. It is, unless she's going to say otherwise. If she's never thought about it or it's ever been a thought in her 50 plus years of life, that is a tough journey that we should not, I don't really give a fuck about what you think just because she's a reality star. She has showed everything on the show. Still a person. She's still a person, but she's been extremely raw and has showed every aspect of her life in the last 15 years. Give her a fucking break when it comes to her sexuality. Let her tell us when she's ready.
Plus, I mean, I'm sure being 50 and married with 4 children is very, very different than even coming out if you're 18 or if you're in middle school.
But it sounds like more in the season she will be open about it. Okay, so after Boz and Dorit, they talk about her divorce, that picture of PK kissing another woman. Dorit says that's when, the moment she saw that, that's when she filed for divorce. I guess that same day or something.
I was really, really, really surprised because you and I talk about what it means to be a reality star and be on TV. And we can imagine all we want. But you're so famous, paparazzi come to your child's baseball game. Yeah. That picture of them.
And that was so weird. I'm like, that's so dramatic,
but what if it was because
they're all wearing black? I'm like,
no, but I was just like, we move around with such freedom and autonomy. I was like, wow. Yeah. Somebody renting an apartment across here to get pictures of us recording. I was like,
you will see a little more of that side of like, because I don't know if it's because it's the whole Beverly Hills thing. There's more glam and more like Lisa Rinna. You know who Lisa Rinna is?
Yes.
She used to be a housewife in the show. She's deeply missed.
I'm like, I know from you and the books you told me.
I love Lisa Rinna.
I know
so
she has
much.
the short dark hair. She was on Beverly Hills.
She for a long time. She was iconic for actress.
She was a soap star.
Yes. Okay. So you kind of have that's one of the things that sets Beverly Hills apart. It's a lot more luxe and glam and money and rich and cameras and.
But also Kyle's house just looked like a regular house, except that it was like a mile deep.
I know. She has a stunning house.
I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. So then we finally are reintroduced to Rachel Zoe.
They did such a good job.
I love it. She's friends with Kathy Hilton.
And her intro, I'm either wearing 6-inch heels or I'm barefoot. And I was like, that makes sense. I liked hearing her story. I liked her talking about how like she was working with her husband and how that didn't work out.
I used to watch her show too. I didn't watch it religiously like other shows on Bravo, but I did watch it. And I was really, shocked maybe to hear like he was kind of a dick, I guess. That's how that was basically my impression.
Having kids made them very different, and having kids
especially
very
I think different. She said they were together 18 years prior to having kids. Now the comment, you have kids, you're married, all that. So I have no experience.
I've never been with anyone 18 years.
But that's what I mean. I'm like, if you're with someone for a significant, not like a few years, whatever, which is, I guess, like what a norm when you have kids. So someone, usually you're with them for a few years or whatever. 18, that's almost 2 decades.
That speaks to how parenthood is very different than anything else you've ever done. And plus, longevity is not the only marker of success in a relationship. It can't be.
It could just be your children. You made beautiful children together.
Yeah, but like you can know people that have been married for 40 years and they're miserable. Like there has to be more to it. And so, you know what? I trust her. And I was looking at it and I was like, I'm sure there had to have been a great reason for why they did this. Even if it was hard. Yeah. Because I do like her. I think that she's probably a little kooky too, but I feel like that is who she is. Yeah. She's always been like that. I actually thought that she was a clothing designer. I didn't realize she was only a stylist.
Oh, yeah.
So she runs through her thing. She's like, Tommy Hilfiger tagged me. And then I was styling these people, not people. Yeah. I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, she was definitely like an it girl in terms of like fashion, you know. And I kind of remember, I think I forgot about how many like celebrities she really, like Jennifer Gardner and like
Cameron Diaz.
I was like, okay. I know. So we meet her and then we go into Kyle and Erika. Go to Sutton's house.
Which I thought was so funny, but also I was like, can I see Kyle and Erika being friends?
They're best friends.
I could not, I think.
Which makes me happy because one thing, like it seemed like Kyle was on an island by herself last year and I did not like that. She was still good with Erika. But Erika, I'm trying to how I want to describe this. There was a group of women on the show for a long time. They called it the Fox Force 5. And that included Kyle, Erika, Dorit, and then Lisa Rinna, and then Teddy Mellencamp, who's no longer on the show. But I listened to her podcast with Tamara Judge from the Housewives of Orange County.
Yeah.
I love Teddy. Do you know who John Mellencamp is?
Yeah, the singer.
That's her daughter. So she used to be on the show. She was on the show for 3 seasons, I believe. People really hate her, and I don't understand why. It's very odd. I love Teddy.
What's Teddy's full name?
Mellencamp.
No, I mean, is it like Theodora or something? They call her Teddy?
Teddy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's Kyle's best friend. So that was like the group. So it makes me happy. Kyle and Erika have always still remained friends.
But Erika was going through all her stuff last year.
Erika, that was a few years ago. Last year was like Erika's first season where she didn't have a lot of shit on her. However, she was definitely playing both sides a little bit because she's in the middle between her and Kyle's feud, or Dorit and Kyle's feud. But apparently, what we have now learned, now it's out there. And in the trailer, you saw like a fight between them. Sounds like, and I guess this has been confirmed by Kyle herself, that as it stands today, Kyle and Erika are not friends with Dorit. So it's very interesting to see how this is all going to play out this whole season. But they drive to Sutton's house where Sutton's mom is there. Erika meets Sutton's mom for the first time. And really the big elephant in the room that they talk about is 2 things, really. It's
Abby,
Sutton's former personal assistant / whatever that weird title, director of operate. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
And that was really her assistant. And he's been not like a staple with her on the show.
How many seasons?
I mean, however long she's been on. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I couldn't
tell if it was a lover or
no, because he's gay.
Okay.
I'm assuming. So that was really weird because she's not being very like.
Yeah.
You don't know. You still don't know why.
So that, and then what was the other thing?
Garcelle.
Yeah.
And so this comes into Garcelle of it all because Sutton and Garcelle were the closest.
They showed the clips of them, and I was like, they look so cute, like they were having fun.
And so Sutton claimed, while they talk about it, like what happened, she's like, I don't know. We were supposed to have supper after the reunion. She did say that at the reunion last year. Sutton tried reaching out to her, and then Garcelle has not talked to her since.
But you've told me housewives are allowed to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, they can just say, hey, I'm not interested.
It's on one contract per season basis, so she can decide whatever.
But it sounds like they haven't spoken outside of the show.
Well,
either.
after all this happened, Garcelle unfollowed everybody on like Instagram and has not talked to anybody.
Who follows those things? I mean, that...
Fans, like, you see it all, when you start following Bravo accounts, they'll have screenshots. They'll be like, so and so are following each other again. That must mean they're cool. Like, it's a whole fucking thing. Yeah,
that's a cool job.
So that becomes a whole topic. Where
but Reba was there too. Sutton's mom.
Sutton's
she
mom.
was a whole vibe.
So she is a whole vibe. We met her last season because Sutton has a very, as we mentioned, tough relationship with her mom. Basically, just being a strict mom, like not really being lovey-dovey. But they kind of worked through it. Sound like last year they had some vulnerable moments, and now she's visiting her in California because one of Sutton's kids is graduating.
The clips they showed, it looked like Sutton is. It was giving me the Devil Wears Prada vibes. Like she was never satisfied with anything, which seems kind of ironic because it sounds like her mom was probably like that and very withholding with compliments and very making you jump through hoops.
You definitely, one thing I feel like they might have said it in this episode, but they definitely made it emphasize on it last year, especially Kyle, who met Reba last year. It was Kyle and Garcelle went down to Georgia to visit her home in Georgia. They say like when you meet Sutton's mom, Sutton now makes more sense to them. So that's kind of the vibe. But they talk about what happened with Garcelle, and Sutton really says, I don't know. She expressed pain and confusion.
So why do you think they left that all in?
I don't think they could have.
Because it ended at the reunion, and it was so visible. And
it was kind of shocking, maybe not the right word. It was abrupt, if anything. Again, there's a lot of fans that are like, how can you be so clueless of why? We all know why. What
was she like during the whole reunion? Was Garcelle just talking?
She didn't, sorry, she didn't give much.
Yeah.
She didn't give
she
much.
She was over it.
It sounded like at a certain point, she definitely, it's like she knew mentally, I'm throwing in the towel and I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
And then she's like, that's it with a picture. Yeah. I gave y'all enough.
One thing about Garcelle, she's always been open and honest and like very like direct.
Yeah. What's she like with Sutton?
That's her best friend.
I mean, but was it like...
But they were kind of...
Vinegar and water relationship?
No, not at all.
Yeah?
No, not at all. They had a great relationship. A little too much at times. I think it was... we kind of talked about this about another show, but it was kind of one of those situations where it was like, when they were separated, they were both kind of different to a certain extent.
Okay.
But she feels hurt. She rejects the idea that her bond was just over an alliance.
I don't think we've really seen serving staff at people's houses on
Oh,
Salt
well,
Lake
you're
City.
about to. Like caterers and all this kind of stuff, yeah.
But I mean, even when Kyle says later on, she's like, "You can't just have food anymore. You got to entertain."
And that's Beverly Hills. That's gonna be set apart from like some of the other ones where it's very like it's just very gravitas.
I mean, I feel like Salt Lake City. Yes, those ladies are not on our level right now,
but these women are not
this
on our
is
level.
kind of like it's not even owed money; it's long money.
Yeah.
You're like, there's
though a lot of people like to make fun of Erika now because she's not really rich anymore. She lives in a much smaller home. I don't like that. They're like people like bitch, you're not rich, and I think it comes from maybe the allegation stuff from her husband. It's a whole complicated thing. I don't think it's really fair.
I feel like that's a California thing.
I think so too, and I like Erika a lot.
I like her because she feels like the black sheep in the group.
Well, but she used to be very like in it, and it's like she's calmed down the past couple of years.
Maybe matured.
She
watched her husband go through that big thing. That
it clearly affected her, but like she used to be like, I'm telling you, she had some biting things that she would say, and I loved she used to wear a necklace that had cunty on it.
So you guys, we need to have a like on our 4th season of the show, we need to have like a Dom score, and your score of like how the housewives do you need to be like
a
who
report
had
card,
something like quotable things, who had outfits, because like I think your perspective was probably different than a lot of people.
Well, because I think we talked about this on our other episode of like Bravo fans are so tough. Because at one moment you can watch BravoCon clips and we're all like, yay, we're together, isn't this beautiful? And then the next, because we're so solidified in our opinions, where I think now we look at things with a rational sense that I understand might sound silly because it's Housewives. Like, how do you rationalize Housewives? And I don't think I mean it like that. I just mean it like I can see people behind what we're presenting. It's like, instead of saying fuck Erika, I think about, okay, yeah, maybe certain things are kind of tone deaf or whatever that she has said or done, whatever we all have. But I think about all the other complexities that she has in her life. And I look at people as just human beings, not just fixtures on the show, which maybe goes against kind of what other people's philosophies are, because it is this reality TV show.
That's what we want. We want to know, like, okay, so you're being a bitch today, but why?
But why?
What happened at home?
The same
what did
way,
you see?
like fans.
You want the layers of people.
Yeah, and I take it too seriously in a way that's not harming. It's trying to understand the psychology. Whereas there are people like who will send death threats to these women.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like Tamara Judge on the Real Housewives of Orange County. She got like people wishing her to unalive herself. Like, and she reposted. She's like, you know what? You want to say and criticize the show? Fine. You are taking it way too seriously to send someone death threats.
Is that why she left?
No, she's on the show. I hope so. She comes back.
Orange County, not Beverly Hills. Okay.
But anyways, going back to Beverly Hills. So then it goes into Kyle's party. So the cast gathers at Kyle's house.
Beautiful backyard. Wait.
Beautiful.
But before that, we saw all 4 of Kyle's daughters.
Oh yeah, she did talk to Kyle's daughters.
I never watched the Kardashians, but it was giving me Keeping Up with
she's
the Kardashians
very good friends
vibes.
with Kim, with
Chris.
And they did a whole thing recently, the Kardashian, Chris and Kim. They did like a TikTok live or something.
Really?
Where it looked like an infomercial and Kyle was on it with them.
Oh, wow.
So she's very close with them.
I've seen Kyle in places and just I didn't know who she was.
So you're also going to see like how like Beverly Hills, like I said, like Jamie Lee Curtis was on because Kyle knows her. Like, so you see a much different thing with Beverly Hills that stands out. It's like, they know legitimate people.
Wow. And you love film and cinema, so that makes sense that you're like, oh my god, we're just here. I do. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be like, who is that?
I do. I love all of it.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't see too much of Erika this episode, but that's from the trailer. That's gonna change. And Erika's like her or hate her, she plays a big part. I think people want to see more from her, and I think hopefully this season we do get that.
So, given everything we've been talking about, is Kyle possibly not getting divorced because of money or a prenup or something?
I don't think it's anything to do with it. I really don't know. I think it's emotional because
does she still sleep with the husband?
No, he doesn't live there. They don't do anything like that.
Okay.
And if they do, she doesn't tell anybody. But I don't think that.
It's not still like a love thing where I hope he comes back.
And that's a big question. It's like, why is she not getting? Why have they not filed? No one is it.
Have the daughters asked her? Like, Mom, what are you doing?
I'm sure they have. Not on the show.
Not on the show.
Yeah.
So she's private public. She shows you guys what you want to see in the house.
No, I wouldn't say that. Maybe no.
Okay.
I think a lot of fans would agree with you. I don't think that way at all because she's been very open and honest and authentic throughout 15 years. I think she has had a very tough time with this separation. You saw it last year, like she's crying with him. even though it was not new last season either necessarily, but I think she's just trying to understand, where am I at this point in my life? I've raised all these kids. I had this wonderful husband. We had a great relationship. My life is now so different, and I might sexually feel different with the opposite sex. I feel like she's trying to understand her whole life, and he was a big part of it, and she really loved him. So I think we saw her struggling to understand that.
He asked her for the separation?
I think so. I think it was mutual to it.
We're going to have a relationship debrief.
I know. I have to.
This one and Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
I know. I don't think we missed too much except for...
Well, the whole party. That's a huge part of it. The whole episode. That's the whole, last part of the whole episode.
What they talk about in there? The girl shows up that they thought was Dorit, but it wasn't Dorit. It was Anna.
Rachel, the whole discussion about the divorces at the table.
Oh, okay. We've been talking divorce the whole time. Keep going.
I don't know. Now I don't know what to say. There's so many layers to it.
Boz and her daughter and her boyfriend show up, and they're like, are they going to stay? I thought it was nice that he was just saying hi, and then they left. So, okay, they get into the divorces. Oh, I didn't know where he would have went.
Because they were like, there's no other husbands here. Most because there is no other husbands. They gathered there. During the party, the conversation was about Dorit's divorce and Rachel's reintroduction, shifting alliances. Sutton breaks down around the friendship. Or they talk about that.
So you've said in other discussions, it's kind of up to them whether they want to get into their relationships, get into the meat of it. Will Dorit mention a lot, or you think she
has been mentioning it, the whole last season? So
she found out about the kissing,
and she's like, I'm done. No, this right now. We just found out.
Right now.
That happened in between, end of last season. That didn't play out. I think that was very recent.
So when she was talking with Boz, that was like, hey, this sounds right now.
This just happened. Okay. Yeah, so file for divorce. And then Rachel makes her mark on the group. She is met with a lot of curiosity, especially from Dorit.
Some people knew her, some people didn't. Some people just knew her
Boz knew her because I guess they was on her. I guess she has a podcast. I didn't know that. They kind of bond over all these divorces. She also reveals that someone tried to set her up with Mauricio, Kyle's ex. I thought that was odd. I'm like, I don't really see that. So a lot of the conversation turned into all the divorces.
Why did Sutton and her spouse break up?
I don't know.
But really it was while she was on the show?
No.
Oh, okay. So she's been divorced the whole time?
Yes. But when she started the show, there was a whole thing about her settlement and all this kind of stuff that wasn't finalized. So they were newly divorced.
And she has 2 boys.
And a daughter.
Okay.
And I think she has 2 kids. Or maybe 3.
Okay.
I don't really know. I can't remember. But I know she has a daughter for sure.
So Kyle is cooking and the 2 girls are there. And you're like, okay, cool. And then another one comes. I was like, wait, she has a different shirt. And then I was like, oh my God, 4 women that look so similar.
And it's so funny. Her youngest daughter, Portia, who was in her last year of high school. I rewatched season 1 recently. She was a baby. She was 1.
Sure.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
Because they showed the clip of her crying and it said 2023. And I was like, oh my God, she was 8.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I'm like, I remember when Portia was a baby. I'm like, this is so bizarre. And that's how you know, fans were getting fucking old. But that's pretty much the episode.
I know.
I loved it.
I really like it.
I loved it. I love Beverly Hills.
I was not expecting it to be so different from Salt Lake City, which I know sounds so stupid. Because I'm like, okay, you follow a group of women in their respective city. Go. But I think because I've never been to Beverly Hills. And so I was just like, what are we in for? And I definitely didn't expect all these people to have these histories and be famous. I just was like, oh, Kyle has this.
But the same thing remains in every franchise, no matter the money, landscape, whatever. It's about women and their friendships and their ever evolving relationships in their human lives. We get to see them live their lives about conflict resolution. So the formula stays the same. It's just a different backdrop.
I mean, who in Salt Lake City do we get to see their sister? And then your sister is Kathy Hilton. The scale of it all is much grander, but it's very fun.
Kathy Hilton is a character of herself. She's not who I thought. She's just good. She pulled out jeans for, do you have jeans? She's like, yeah, I saw them. I think Kyle would look cute on them. I
know.
That's her cutting her hat and pulling
and you're
jeans
sharing
out.
it right now.
I'm like, okay, well, I guess people are just as real as we are.
You guys, I am now a Housewives fan.
She's here. I have mission accomplished. My gosh. I can't wait for more of this.
I know. Thanks for overanalyzing with us.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah.
Beverly Hills.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm gonna keep my glasses on.
Whatever you gotta do.
Whatever you got to do, lady.
Erika Girardi's husband, Tom, what is his claim to fame?
We have 2 minutes.
Okay.
I know.
I don't know how it's done.
I know.